Okay, so uh, today I'm gonna start on making tutorials for coding for Bukkit. If you're a Minecraft player, I hope you guys know what Bukkit is, bukkit.org. It's just an interface, an API, an application programming interface to code for Minecraft servers. It just makes life easier than to code every single thing one by one. So first thing we're going to do is just normally if we're setting up a server we get CraftBukkit. Well, a better way to get this is dl.bukkit.org. The links are all going to be in the description, so don't worry. And we could use the recommended build, and let's just go with the recommended build for this time. So I'm just going to save my craftbukkit.jar somewhere on my desktop. So this downloaded, and one thing I assume you guys know how to do is get NetBeans. I will put a video if I can find the tutorial on how to make it on YouTube. I think there is tutorials. NetBeans, it's just downloading and installing this, and there isn't really anything to it. I am going to be using NetBeans 7.1.2 just because I don't really like 7.2, and I will put a link to 7.1.2 download in the description. And there is one more thing we're gonna need. We're gonna need JDK and JDE. What these are: JDK is the development kit, and JDE is, I think, the execution. I have no clue what they stand for. And I will put these in the description as well. JDK and JRE, sorry, not JDE. And if we download both of these, I usually download both of them, I don't know why, and just use JDK 1.7, and I'll show you how to make it use JDK 1.7. And one thing that is important to do, please, if you're using a 64-bit Windows, please just get the 64-bit one. Don't get the 32-bit. It just makes everything easier. So first thing we're going to do is open NetBeans. And as a warning, I have a lot of projects on my project list, so it's going to take some time to open since it's a huge IDE and it's one of the best out there. I've seen a lot of tutorials use Eclipse, but I just don't like Eclipse, so as you can see there's a lot of projects here. And I'm just going to wait for it to scan the projects and open them. Since there's a lot of projects, I'm going to go talking about importing and exporting and stuff like that. Importing from Bukkit, if you could see some cool stuff. And we could start on making our project. So file, new project, or Control-Shift-N if you haven't changed the key bindings. And Java application. So just like easy Java application. And project name. Let's just call this, I have a plugin called YouTube since I haven't really uninstalled my NetBeans since I started coding myself, so that's how I learned from a YouTube video. But I didn't really like how they went on after a few episodes, so I'm just starting my own. So I'll call this YouTube 2.0. And I'm just setting it as my main project. So it's creating the project. So first thing you're going to do is right click on the project and open it. Properties, libraries. I'm using JDK 1.7, JDK 1.6, and this was a JDK that I kind of mixed it up with CraftBukkit to not import CraftBukkit every time, but I don't suggest you doing that. If you guys know how to do it, do it. I'm not going to really teach you guys how to do that. So how to change this is just manage platforms. If you're like JDK 1.6, just go to manage platforms, or if your JDK 1.7 isn't working, that's something as well. So you go to your computer, you go to the place you install your computer, and if you are 64-bit, just go to program files. As I said, get the 64-bit package. Open Java, JDK 1.7. It's gonna automatically import it. Just because I'm already using it, I could just name this something else, JDK 1.7 YouTube, and there you go. So I'm using JDK 1.7 YouTube. It's the same thing. And something else we're gonna do, since we're using CraftBucket, sorry, not add library, we have to have CraftBucket built into this. So remember we downloaded CraftBucket at the beginning. That's why we needed it. So basically we imported everything we needed. Now in the project that we have, just make a new Java package. I'm gonna call mine org.nationcraft.dev. That's our actual coding team name, and like server tools. We're gonna make a set of server tools like Essentials has, but a lot like Essentials makes their own API, and I'm actually gonna go talking about some API. I'm not just gonna do programming, since understanding what we're doing is really important. It's a lot more important than programming. And now, after we made the package, we just clicked finish and we made the package. We're gonna right click the package and make a class file. And I usually set my first class file called main, just because that's gonna be the class file we're like using. So now we're just gonna open main. And this thing is gonna get annoying, so I'm just gonna close this and close all. I guess I have to open main again. There. So there's a few things you have to add in here to make this work with Bucket. So I really don't memorize these. I just like copy it from my first plugin that I made. So the first thing you're gonna do is public class main, if you used main, extends Java plugin. Java plugin, as you see, it's not imported, so we're just going to import Java plugin. And you might ask, how is my screen like darker? Since I usually code at the night and there's not a lot of light on. When it's like full bright white, it just annoys me. And so just to change that, if you really want to, tools, options, if I haven't forgot, yeah, fonts and colors and city light. There's another one, Norway Today, but I just like city lights, I'm just used to it. And if you guys really like to use full bright white color, you guys can. So public class main extends Java plugin. As you can see, Java plugin is not built into Java itself. So the import we have is from Bucket. org.bucket.plugin.java plugin. One of the other things we're gonna do, as I said, I don't memorize these stuff. So public static. Okay, so you guys might ask what public does, what static does. I'm not gonna really explain what they do at the beginning, but as we go on, you guys are gonna see why we use public in some places and why we use like private, and what static does and stuff like that. So main plugin. I actually didn't learn these till like a few days ago. Like static, I literally learned a few days ago what static does. And one thing we're gonna have to remember when we're coding is any way you code, if it works, like the system is just gonna understand it anyways. Like the computer is easily gonna like, okay, go through lines and lines and lines of code and do what you wanted it to do. But when I'm gonna try to like teach it like this online, when I try to code, I try to make it easier for the human eye to read. Like the computer is gonna read it anyways, but if you're like making a project and you're working as a team and someone joins you after like a month that you started working on the project, you don't want them to go like, WTF is this plugin? You just want them to be able to read what's going on. As you can see, if you're using the city light texture thingy, you can see like these are random stuff written. You're like, wait, Java reads these stuff? No, it doesn't. These are comments. When there's a slash and a star, you could go on and then finish it with a star and a slash and write anything in comments. So try, even if you're not gonna work as a group, and if you guys like want to do computer science in the future, I would start commenting on every single thing I'm doing, just because it will make life a lot easier. Even if you like come back to the plugin, if you're like the only author, and if you come back to the plugin like after a month, you're not gonna have to start recoding the plugin, and you don't really want that to happen. So basically, when we start a plugin, if you guys have hosted the server, you'll see every single plugin like says a startup message. So we're gonna say what to do on those startup messages. Public void and void. I could explain what these are, but not right now. On enable and a bracket. What do these semicolons and brackets mean? Well, brackets are when we're trying to add like something to happen between these two. That's when we use brackets. We can't really say public static main plugin and then bracket open do something. That doesn't really make sense to Java. Or we can't just do like import org.bucket.plugin.java.java plugin and do something between these. If you just do that, you're gonna get a huge error. When we're using public class, like, or public void, especially in public void, and boolean, which means true or false, then you're going to use hard brackets. If not, like if we're using it like on defining a variable, and a variable is just what changes. Guess what? It's a name. And like if we're defining something, like if we're saying like string abc equals a random string, stuff like that, then we use semicolons. And another place that we use hard brackets is at if/else/while statements, and we're going to get into those. So public void on enable, and guess what? We have to have an on disable. We can't just enable the plugin. On disable means when the server is turning off with the /stop command, not by just like closing the console. And yeah, as you can see, it gave me an error. It says just add an override annotation. I still don't know what override does. If anyone does, please say it in the comments. So what this basically does is what to do when the plugin gets enabled and what to do when the plugin gets disabled. Since 1.3, you don't really have to send a message to the console that says, oh, this plugin has been, like, this plugin just started working. It automatically does that. So I'm just going to leave these empty for now. And I'm going to go exactly onto coding my first command. So again, I kind of forget these, and I know this has lots of errors just because the imports are wrong. Yeah, I'll just copy this. I will put these in the description, or you guys could just copy it from the video. I would say just copy it from the video so you'll do it once at least. And if you press Shift Alt F, it's gonna automatically put it like in a really good format. So public boolean on command, and again, as you see, it automatically said you forgot your at override annotation, so we just put that there. Now we see another like huge errors. Command sender is something again from bucket, command and command sender. So first import command sender. You see it's not highlighted right now, and add command and missing return statement. So as you can see, we started a bracket here, and we ended it like here. Also, every bracket that starts, it has to end. The first bracket, which is the main bracket, I call it like the root bracket, is this. We never close this bracket, so we're just gonna close it. Again, we're gonna be missing return statements, but don't really worry about that right now. And just to make this look like in a line, you don't really have to have a space between it. There. This might be easier for now. So first thing we're going to do is make an if statement. If, as you know, is like, if this happens, do this. So if command label dot equals, there is one called equals and one called equals ignore case. Ignore case means I don't care if it's capital or like not capital. Equals means I do. So we could just use equals ignore case in this. The only thing we want our command to do right now is the command we just want to do is like send me. That's going to be slash send me. As you can see, we still have a huge red line. It's going to say missing return statement. I will tell you what to do at the end. So if command label that equals ignore case slash send me, we don't have to have the slash here. If you have a slash here, I think it will be like a world edit thing, which you use double slashes. I'm not really sure how they do it, and I haven't really looked at it. And again, all of these errors are just because of imports. So as you can see, we just made a command. So what should the command do? If someone does slash send me, what should the plugin do? Well, first thing we have to do is define who the player is. As you can see, we have a command sender. So we're going to define a variable player. If you guys have done any kind of coding before, you guys know we have integers, we have doubles, and these are going to give errors, so I'm not going to write them here, but you know, we have like integers. Actually, we have to do it like this, public int, like x, or stuff like that. That just made an integer x. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a variable who is the player. Why we're making it a variable? Since like if the server has 50 people on, and it's going to vary who's doing the slash send me command. So look at it like that. So player, and we're going to name this variable. Every variable has to have a name to call it later on. Player p equals, I'm just going to do this, sender. Sender is the command sender. You're going to see we're going to have an error here. First of all, we haven't imported player. Now we imported player. Player is not built into Java. Java is like, what the heck is player? That's where bucket comes in. So we're again having an error here. If we know, like, the sender of the command could be anyone. It could be the console, it could be the player, it technically could be an entity like a zombie, but we're not talking about that right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a cast. A cast says, well, the player is the sender, while the sender is the player, is an instance of player. So basically what we did here is we just said the sender is 100% a player. I know if you guys are just watching this just to troll and you know Java, you're gonna be like, oh, that's gonna generate a null point exception, and I know. I'm not gonna get into how to get rid of that right now. So if you see, we're still having a massive error here. So we're just gonna do return false. That got rid of the error. That's just when we have a boolean, if we didn't want to have a return on this, we had to have a void. A void basically means you do something, I don't care about what happens after. I don't care about where it goes. It's just void. It's gone. It's disappeared. You see here, we didn't have a return statement. So now we just made a plugin. We just made a command. But the command does nothing. We just defined who the player is. So bucket, again, gives us loads and loads and loads of stuff to do. And just, if you see, they have like lines on them. Those are usually deprecated, or they're going to be added in the next update. I think for like throw egg, they're deprecated and stuff. So what we're going to try to do is send the player a message. p.send message. So I just deleted that. And when you're writing strings, this is something really important, and it's related to Java, not really this specific coding. When you're writing strings, just put them between these, please. Just don't write random stuff, because when you write it like ABC, it thinks that ABC is a variable, and if you press Alt Enter to show hints, it says cannot find symbol, aka the string that we defined. So just put it in these and just say like thanks, I guess. And if you want to add color to this, chat color dot this is something, I think this is something that Bukkit added as well. So chat color dot gold. So what this is going to do is the player is going to do /send me, and the player is going to get a message saying thanks. So basically that was coding one simple plugin. There is something else after you finish the plugin you have to do, is called the plugin .yml file. It has to be named that. This is not the config.yml that we usually see in like every single plugin. And I think I'm going to get in configs like in a few sessions, but not right now. So what we're going to do here, it's really important where you right click to make the YML file. Right click on source packages. Don't right click on this. So new YAML file. If the YAML file isn't there, just go to other, and it's going to be somewhere here. There you go, YAML file. Just name it plugin, because it automatically makes a .yml. You don't really need to write like plugin.yml, since we use the YML template. So YML template, in YML comments are with these signs, so I'm just going to delete them. And I already have a plugin.yml made, so I'm just really just going to copy what that is, and I will tell you what is important in making these. This is a plugin.yml already made. Let's get rid of these. And yes, as you see, it's my MindZ plugin, and it will be released in a few days, or maybe it is released by the time you're watching this. So the website, I'm just gonna add like dev.nationcraft. You don't have to have this actually. You don't have to have a website. You don't have to have a prefix. Let me just delete the stuff we don't have to have. I think you need an author. You have to have a version. You have to have a name, a main, version, description, and for commands, ours is send me. And we don't need this. We could have aliases. I don't think we need them though. I'm just gonna keep them just in case. So YouTube tutorial, and don't ask me why it works like this. I just don't know. So what's main? This is where lots of people are going to encounter problems, and I know the comments are still going to be filled even if I explain how this works. You see we named this org.nationcraft.dev.servertools. Well, just write that whole out for now. org.nationcraft.dev.servertools. First thing that's going to happen. This has a capital S and a capital T. This doesn't. So capital letters are important. They're not going to work without capital letters. Version 1.0, and I'm sorry I shouldn't have went to version. We actually forgot to do something. .main. This is why I named my main class main, because it's looking for your main class. The main class is basically where it has the public on enable, on disable, and it explains everything else. We're not using anything else for now. We're just making a command. Later on we're going to do events. So yeah, description, thanks, I guess. You don't really have to put anything here. I'll be like derp mode activate. And aliases, we could like put aliases without actually putting it in the command. So aliases like send me, send him, or stuff like that. And not to be sexist, let's just put send her as well. Okay, so this is the version we're going to define. We could define it as 0.1, and the name. The name could be again anything. I'm just going to name it server tools. Think of this command as the /ping command from Essentials, which literally just replies Pong to you. It doesn't do anything else. So yeah, the plugins that we're gonna make are suddenly gonna get a lot more, like a lot better. So I would suggest, even while you're watching these videos, just try to play around with it. Just try to do some cool stuff. So yeah, we made the plugin and it's done. The only thing we have to do is, you always do this with my keyboard, but okay, build main project, F11. It's finished building. The output will show where it built it, so just don't copy that part, but you could copy all of this and go to it, YouTube underline 2.0. I might have an error, I'm not sure, but it's nothing we can't solve. My Minecraft server is here, and I don't know what this is doing in here. There you go. Plugins, yeah, Kano hacks, YouTube 2.0, and I'm just gonna start the server. Let's see, are we gonna get any errors? We got no errors, so that's good. And I don't know why I put this on offline mode. So let's log in. This is pretty weird. My texture pack's just gone crazy, so I'll just use default for now. And I'm just gonna connect to localhost. So we connected. Guess what? /send me. Thanks, in a gold chat color. So thank you for watching, guys. We're gonna have a lot of these tutorials. If you really want me to do a tutorial on how to install like NetBeans and everything like Through, not just assuming you guys know how to do that, since I would say if you're trying to learn coding, you have to have a base knowledge on how installation of programs and everything else works. Don't just start off by like, yeah, I'm gonna start programming without knowing how to install a software. And a quick update on our MindZ plugin, which we're coding. It's just to show you guys we aren't lying about coding it, and as you see, we are nearly done. We have everything set up. As you see, these are the events, and we will actually, after the MindZ plugin gets released, we will actually go over the code on like a few videos, like 2 videos, just to see what we did there. So this was our main plugin, and watch out for the next tutorial. And I think you guys could tell me what to do in the comments. If not, my plan is to do a teleportation plugin. So thank you for watching and stay tuned.